This is fast, that's a little slower. I have to drive in, push, pull through. I have to drive in, push, pull through. All that takes microseconds of more time where I'm vulnerable longer. Hi guys and gals, is that one of them? Yep. Today we're starting another day's training. Unfortunately right now Luke's available, so I'm training 3-4 times a week with him. He's not on a movie right now, he just finished one. So I'm happy that I have this opportunity to train with him. Today I'm using Kobuns. Kobun is a 5-inch blade Tanto. It's fairly thin blade, but it's pretty stiff. It's really lightweight, and it cuts and stabs outside its weight class. So, especially a serrated Kobun, oh my, that's really dangerous knife. Andrew Dimko's just come out with a 5-inch blade Tanto. I'm going to be talking about it more soon, and it's about the same length, but it's thicker. It's maybe a millimeter half thicker. It's 5mm thick, 10A steel, got a considerably bigger handle and a much wider, stouter, thicker blade. And very obnoxious looking to wear, and doesn't look like you're carrying a big knife, but when you pull that out, believe me, you're well armed when you pull that out. It's a stud. So I'm going to go against 13 MB2s. I usually oppose 7.5 inch, 7-inch, 10.5 inch, or 12-inch knives. I normally don't oppose 6-inch, 5-inch, stuff like that. I don't oppose 4-inchers because I always want to put myself at the disadvantage and force my skills to grow, or to maintain my skills. It's pretty easy for me if I have the same length of blade as my opponent. It's not much for me. I know that's bragging, but it's not bragging if it's true. So I usually always try to underarm myself when I'm training. He's carrying very dangerous knives, 7.5-inch blades, over 3/16 inch thick, a substantial guard, good enough that he can stab as hard as he wants with no fear of his hand going forward. He's got that horrible reinforced Tanto point. This piece right here. Oh, when that hits you, your ribs are splitting. That chisel edge right here, that chisel edge gonna split your ribs, and then poof, the blade's just gonna burst into your chest or through your rib cage or through your shoulder blade. Whatever is obstacles in the way is gonna get pierced by that. The other bitch about this that I talk about is that blade is so stiff. It's so stiff that I can't muscle it with this knife. Now this is very stiff for a boot knife, neck knife style knife, because it has a pretty wide spine, but it's a thinner blade stock. So I have to use a lot of power, or I have to step and use my body weight. And all that takes time. Every time I add any extra motion takes time. I just can't do this quite often, like I'd like to with a heavier knife. If I had that, you can manipulate a lot of bigger knives with even a 7-inch blade Tanto, because it's so stiff, so thick, so sturdy that there's no give to it. It's dangerous. If someone pulls that out, I'd say take steps, big steps. Run as fast as you can. But we're going on the scenario we can't run. So I'm going to start working against this knife today, show you how I would work it. I'm going to do forward and reverse grip both. I'm going to start with forward grip, and we're going to do a whole series of different warm-up drills. First, he's going to cut me on the neck, and I'm going to pick that up. And I'm going to try, because he's got a somewhat shorter blade, I can reach his hand quite often. I'm not going to deliberately do this. I don't ever deliberately do this unless I have to. Against some knife that's much longer than mine, but if I can reach his hand, I will. If I'm in time, now at the last second and he cuts me, I might do that, yeah. I definitely will block on his blade rather than take a cut on the neck. But that's not ideal. So I want to countercut him. So I also want him to land sometimes. And you're going to say, why do you keep going over this? Because flipping people don't want to do it. And this is how all these different... I didn't know when he's going to do that. That's line familiarization. It builds your conditioned reflexes to read the line, read the line, read the line, read the line. So 1, 2, I cut it, I cut it, I cut it, I cut it. Now, this other one was coming fast. This hand was asleep. You were asleep. But this one was awake. And I picked him up with the back of my blade. Now, if I had a Taipan, he'd been cut pretty good. But I have a Kobun. You know, a very light knife, 4 or 5 ounce knife, very light. Might be a little heavier than that, might be even 6 ounces. But it's very light. But because it's a Tanto with a wide spine, I can actually turn that spine into him and stop him like that. You can't do that with every knife that you buy out there. They're just not strong enough, they're not built correctly. But with this, a Kobun, yes you can. So also, I want to try, when I pick him up, whenever I can, to try to get that snap cut in. So here, I'll try to snap cut here, here. But the problem with the snap cut even is, I hit him and he redoubles. So I cut a finger, bang, he redoubles. I cut on this side, he redoubles. You always have to assume it's coming again. Now, in quick kill, I would do this. And I would talk quick kill, and I probably won't teach it to the public because I don't want, frankly, I don't want everyone to know how to do this. But there are times when I'll take a lot more risks to end something so I can go through the door, open the safe, turn off the bomb or whatever, push the button, where it's a dire emergency that you act quickly and decisively and go and accomplish some task. And then you take more chances. That, if you remember the axe game, I'll probably teach. But right now, I haven't decided to teach it to the public. Now, I didn't do a very good defense there. I was at the end of talking and he went, but just goes to show the power of the Tanto. I was able to pry that out of his hand. Yeah, I was impressed. So he's going to cut my neck. Now he's going to gently cut my face. And he's going to keep cutting me. And I'm going to decide when I'm going to pick it up. Only 3 inches, okay? Not 4, 5, 6 inches.
Very long.
I know, but I want to teach at the same time. Right. So I want you to get used to this. We were talking about how many attacks can you go in a row? Well, yeah, I can pick them up, but then I can't tell you anything. So there, what did I do? I came out. You have to, when someone feints at you with a knife, you just can't leave your blade here. You have to go out and try the feint. So I came out to try the feint to see if it's real. No, it wasn't real. Then he redirected it, and then I cut him as he redirected. But sometimes when people are feinting me, I'll either step back and get out of range, not engage. Sometimes they're feinting, and I'll go, because I'm convinced it's a feint. But most of the time, I have to try it. So I move my blade out to start the meeting to see if it's going to continue, or is it going to change direction, or what is that knife going to do? The other thing is, when I come out to this feint here, I have to keep some part of my vision. And I don't see you can't always pick it up on camera. It looks like I'm looking straight ahead. I'm not. There's a corner of my eye I'm reserving for this. Part of my peripheral vision I'm saving over here. Most of it's here on what's closest to me, but that hand that's furthest away, I know that people want to tie me up on this side, then volley back. So I got cut once in that 5 knife exchange, and how many times I cut you?
Twice.
So, yes, 5, 6 piece attack. The best thing, yeah, if I'm dueling, I would get out of dodge. But as soon as he does anything I don't like, I cut it. And I move back. But that's not going to teach you what really counts in knife fighting, which is not to get stabbed to death. Somebody closes and they start stabbing you and cutting you, and you're not going to have the butt to do that. I got all of those. I had one come down and it came down, bounced off my thumb. So my thumb might be cut, but I picked up a 6 or 7, what do you call it? Counterattack. And I didn't know what they were going to do. So there, I didn't have time to countercut him. He went at my hand, and all I had enough time was to do that. Didn't have time like I wanted to. I would have liked to have done that. But there, he actually got it there. Now I got it there. So, line familiarization and constantly letting yourself be cut is really important. Oh, I hate these short blades. So, this little short blade, I blocked this, slid off. I didn't have any muscle power in my blade. I couldn't hold it. I couldn't hold him here. He just overpowered and slid off. I can't do that, what I'd like to do. And that's always, when you're using a smaller knife, that's always the thing. Now, as he starts countercutting you, be careful, go slow motion. I want you to start intercepting with your snap cut. Hit me one time right on the tip of the finger. The joys of knife fighting. You do this, you'll experience them. It's really hard for me to accept a 5-6 count attack and not change ground, because I get in the downward spiral of nervous response, and it's eventually you'll be overcome. So normally, I suggest you move. But when you do that a lot, you get a lot of practice moving, but not a lot of practice fighting. And this is what you won't see people do in knife fighting or teach. They won't stand here and trade stabs that aren't preordained. I don't know what he's going to do. I just know he's going to kill me. So here's another way you can work that drill. And we talk about this a lot, is also force yourself, and we talked this before, force yourself to try to stop that with a cut like that. That may or may not do. I got that in quickly. I got that in. Don't know. You got to stay on your, stay alert, stay alert, stay alert. Don't know. What I do know is this. That plunging stab with a Kobun right there, it went above his ribs, but at a descending angle, that would have gone deep into his belly. Woo, I would have buried it. This I know works. This I don't know. There's a better chance with the secondary tip of the Tanto to have that bite that might make him not want to use that hand again. I don't know even if it's enough to defang the snake. I don't know that he'll let go there. Now that was a little bit better one, but with more of the blade. It was serrated now, and I got this and pulled. I got a good chance of hurting him badly. But to pull with your edge takes time. I need a scope more time to do this than that. This is fast. That's a little slower. I have to drive in, push, pull through. I have to drive in, push, pull through. All that takes microseconds of more time where I'm vulnerable longer. I prefer that than to stay here and cut him and then get bashed by that hand. So I cut him here. Oh yeah, great. I cut him, he cuts me. We try not to trade. I'm a big admirer of HEMA and all the guys that fight in HEMA. And I think it's a great pastime and worthwhile and all that, but it's not for me, and I'll tell you why. Everyone hits way too hard. The chance of injury is way too great for the reward. And you'll never hit that hard in real combat. You'll never have armor like that in real combat. You can't trade. They trade blow after blow after blow, and you can't deal with that in the real world. You won't take one sword blow, let alone 16 and about. You won't take one from a two-handed, a long sword. It's just not happening. And same thing with a knife. With that big Tanto, when he cuts me with it, cuts my arm on this. Hard. Okay, hear that thump? Hard again. Hard again. Yeah, that's a debilitating cut. I can't make the same blow on him by cutting him. So know that. This is another bitch about all these people I see carrying these little tiny 3 and 4 inch blade knives, even fixed blades for self-defense. I want to laugh. Who do you think you're fooling? Yeah, you can kill unarmed people with them, but any knife fighter is going to laugh at your little 4 inch blade. They pull out a 7 inch blade and you're going to be sucking hind tit. It's going to be bad. That little cute little knife that has the return and all this stuff on it that everybody's talking about today, with a 3 inch or 4 inch or 3.5 inch blade, no bueno. Not going to work. It works fine if you're going to murder people that aren't armed. And I don't teach knife against unarmed people. To me, that's just flipping murder. It's so easy for an experienced knifer like me or Luke. If you don't have a knife, oh my goodness. It's bang, and there goes your whole head. Your head went back, I changed directions, I stabbed you, and I'm in the North 40 already. There's nothing you can do about it. You put your hands up, you drop your knives. As soon as somebody puts their hand up, I can see the hand come up. Double cut. Puts bang, there goes his thumb. Off! Could you feel how hard that was?
Yep.
Cut his thumb right off with that cut. Now, I was being kind of gentle. Normally when I do this, I would have followed and stabbed him. Okay, it's so easy. So I see all these different knife fighting systems showing knife against unarmed people, and I cringe because
Legally murder.
it's murder. Now, I'm not saying that you don't use a knife when the person is much bigger, stronger, heavier, younger, more skilled, all those things. Yeah, you're not going to beat him. The chances of you defending yourself successfully without a knife is very, very, very low. You know, I'm not saying you ever need to take a beating when you're carrying a knife. If he punches you, I pick it up and run if he's bigger. If I can't though, unless he punches me and he cracks me with the next hand, and I don't see it, bang, I get right. Now he's following on me, I might pull my knife out and do that, and discourage him from beating me to death, okay? So it's called disparity of force, that's the word I was looking for. In disparity of force situations, now you gotta use good common sense in this. I taught this in Texas, and I gave a really good talk about it, it's on the internet, about disparity of force. Use your common sense and use mercy when you're employing your knife in self-defense.